It's hurricane season, and do you know where your suitcases are? Well, if you go into Walt Disney World in the next day or two, you might have a little bit of a problem. And if you're here, you might want to try to get out of here soon. Um, for those of you who don't know yet, I'm sure mostly everybody out there knows, Hurricane Milton or Uncle Milty is on his way, and it's not going to be good. It's just the only thing I can advise people is listen to what your county is telling you to do. If they tell you to evacuate, get out. Don't say, "Hey, I'm going to stay and write it out." Don't just if they say you need to evacuate, please heed their warnings and do what they tell you. We're gonna prepare here. I'm in Central Florida, so are Jess and Darlene, and we're gonna prepare and be ready for it. And you know, just we'll see what happens. But we're here for you guys right now. And Kurt's with us, John's with us. And I mentioned Darlene and Jess, and I'm Stuart. And we're going to get right into it with the latest news. So take it away, Jess.
Hello, everyone. I have all things Hurricane Milton news and anything that you need to know for your trip if you are coming this week or thinking about coming. So, Disney World has blocked off Park Pass reservations for all four theme parks for October 9th. This means those who are required to book park reservations, including annual pass holders and military salute ticket holders, will not be able to make reservations for that day. That is Wednesday, October 9th. If you have a Disney hotel reservation and you will not be traveling to, I'm sorry, yes, and you will not be traveling to Central Florida, change and cancellation fees for guests with check in dates of October 6th through October 12th will be waived due to potential weather impacts to travel plans. Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, the Copper Creek Cabins at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, and the Treehouse Villas at Disney Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa will temporarily close beginning at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, October 9th. Check with your resort for opening information as damage to the resort could delay openings after the storm. Disney World has stopped taking hotel reservations for October 8th through October 10th. This allows Disney World to accommodate those who are already at the resort without having to add the number of guests there in case the park closes. And they're going to have activities and things for people to do if the parks do close. So do not worry. It will be fun for you, maybe. I don't know. But they're definitely going to try. Don't forget to check park hours before planning your trip and check again once you arrive to see if they've changed. It is fair to say that this week parks could stay open, but they could also alter their hours. And be nice to the cast members while you are on vacation away from the storm. These people will have to work while their homes could be in danger. They will have a lot on their minds worrying about loved ones too. Be nice to them. The Walt Disney World area is expecting a hurricane to pass through early Thursday morning. If you will be on property while the storm passes through, expect high winds and a lot of rain. Power may go out and probably will if you're not on Disney property. I'm not really sure how they handle power restoration on Disney property, but I'm sure it's pretty quick. Once the storm passes through, expect sunny skies the rest of the week and significantly lower temperatures. It will be gorgeous here after Thursday. And that's the latest Disney news, straight to you from Central Florida. In the eye of the hurricane, back to you, Stuart.
Oh boy, I never thought I'd hear, the eye of the hurricane here, but it's honestly,
It
it's
will
not the
be
first.
passing through.
Yeah, it's not the first. It won't be the last. We survived
No.
the last one, which was a couple of years ago. I forgot the name of it, and that was
Irma.
more of a wind rain
Um, uh,
event. But this is going to be worse. For those, I don't know, Jess, if you mentioned this, MCO Orlando International Airport will be closing on Wednesday. I don't know what time they're
Oh,
planning on
yeah, I
closing.
didn't see that.
Yeah.
That makes a lot
Well,
of sense.
mhm.
now, for those of you who have a Disney cruise, which I think they're supposed to be when that departs on Wednesday, contact your travel agent, contact the cruise port, find out what's going on. I am sure they're going to try to get people off the ship and onto and back on and out of there before the storm hits. But I don't know. So that's something you guys need,
Yeah, and
the cruisers need to look into.
it is expected to go through Cape Canaveral as well.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
gonna.
So, it's funny. I follow somebody on YouTube who does videos of trips, and and this person is on the Carnival Sun Princess right now. They had a kind of cruise around to get away from Hurricane Kirk, or Kirk, whatever the storm is called. And now they're heading right into Hurricane Milton.
Right. Yeah.
So hopefully everybody will be safe, and and hopefully anybody here in Florida and anywhere where there's adverse weather will be safe, and we're praying for everybody.
Yes.
Jess, thank you. Oh, go ahead, Jess.
I was going to say, just stay
Oh.
home. Don't leave your house. Once you get notice that it's coming through, don't go out looking for it. It's the worst thing you could do. The lines for the gas stations are very long right now.
No Catastrophe Canyon.
Yeah, no catastrophe.
And I am, for those of you who are listening, I am holding up a Catastrophe Canyon or the Backlot Tour die-cast medal from about 20 years ago.
Right.
That is featured a set on the ride where water poured onto the car. So
that's so fun.
Been holding on to that for a long time. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for the rest of the show, and see you real soon.
Great news report. Be safe.
Bye, James.
Thank you so much. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. So the rest of us will be hanging out here and getting into our topic of discussion, which, people make mistakes packing and bring things they shouldn't bring and forgetting things they should bring. And we're going to go through some of those. I don't expect this to be a very long show tonight, but we'll get the information you guys need that can be useful for future trips. Hopefully your future trip is not this week. But, if you happen to be down here or coming down here this week, just be prepared. And Disney does a great job of getting guests in and around the area. So you'll be safe once you get onto Walt Disney World property. Be certain of that. All right. So, you want to start off with the things you should be bringing that people forget, or mistakes that people make? I think the mistakes will be more fun with what people bring that they shouldn't.
I just don't have as many of those.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I have a few of those.
Yeah, I don't expect us to have much of, some of these things, but Charlie, we're going to start with you tonight.
Okay. I think the one main big thing that I'm thinking of that needed to be packed that people do not think of is when you're packing your toiletries, you might want to bring a pair of tweezers, your nail clippers, a nail file, your moleskin, not your pointy scissors, but like foldable travel scissors in that pack. Because I don't know how many times my daughter would think she had a pair of shoes and get blisters really bad.
So explain what moleskin is.
Yeah,
so
moleskin.
Some of our guests may not know. I mean,
So
I know
moleskin is something that you can put over a blister. You'll cut out the center, put it around the blister, and then you'll be able to walk in the shoes, hopefully. But always bring at least 2 pairs of shoes with you all the time too.
And something similar to that is liquid Band-Aids are also good.
Oh yeah, liquid Band-Aid. Yeah, it just depends. Like Alicia was wearing these shoes for a year and she brought them down and she got blisters.
And that can happen with new shoes too.
Yeah, new or old. So yeah, it's one thing you want to make sure you pack.
Mm-hmm. All right, John.
Well, you certainly want to have things that you need every day at home.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need it every day at home, you're going to need it while you're there.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not easy to get it. So the first thing I'm going to say are any medications.
Mm-hmm.
Any medications you take, whether you're traveling anywhere else or you're traveling to Disney World, you certainly want to have those packed, because you don't want to take time away from your trip to have to go get a prescription and get it filled. That would
Mhm.
take so much time. So
Yeah.
any kind of medication certainly, or anything else, and we'll talk about other things that you use every day, whether you're at home or not.
Yeah, my rule of thumb is to always take a minimum of 3 days extra of my medications.
Yep.
Mhm.
Same. You don't know if you're, well, yeah, what happens if you're in Disney World and a hurricane comes by and you can't get
Right.
home on time,
That's right.
Yep. And you
You
can't get
never
it
know.
back out of you can't fly.
Yeah.
right?
Yep. And we know how great the airlines are with overbooking right now. So
Yeah.
it always pays to have a few extra days with you. All right, Kurt.
Pack the appropriate clothing. So think about where you're going if you have any reservations for anything. Obviously, if you're going to what's the one over there at Grand Floridian that everyone pays $200 a person for,
Victoria and Albert's.
Victoria and Alberts, you better be in a suit and tie. They will not let you in. Something as simple as going to Cirque du Soleil. They even say, hey, bring a polo shirt and at least some khaki shorts, something
Mm.
a little bit nicer than just showing up in your t-shirt and a swimsuit. While you would be let in, you're definitely going to stand out if you're wearing that when you go.
Right. It's know the time of year you're coming here too. If you're coming here
too.
in beginning of February, let's say, it's not always going to be 80 degrees. Actually, it's not going to be 80, 90 degrees here. It's going to be on the cooler side. If you're coming here November, you might want to bring a light jacket for the evening.
Mhm.
It depends on if you're coming here in August, then feel free to bring as many t-shirts as you want and shorts. Something I always tell people when they're coming here, especially if you're coming with kids, if you're here during rainy season, or if you're going on rides that have water, be prepared. Always have an extra pair of socks with you to change into, and maybe even an extra pair of sneakers if that's feasible. I know that's not always feasible, but at least a dry pair of socks will help, especially
Mhm.
for little ones. All right, Darlene.
Another thing, a lot of people sometimes think, oh, it's not going to rain or it's not going to, you know, be extremely cold or whatever. Like Stuart said, you want to make sure you pack appropriately because when you're in the hot sun, say it's 98 degrees, and then you go into a restaurant, you very well might want that slight like jacket or a sweater because you could get a chill.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it can certainly get very chilly in Walt Disney World. I was there one day and it was 28 degrees in Walt Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's not a light jacket. That's a heavy jacket.
Yeah. I don't know how many years ago it was, but they had snow here, and not the kind that they manufacture.
Right?
The actual
Snow.
kind.
Right.
Yeah.
It was flurries that didn't last long, didn't stick, but they had it. I think it was about 10, 15 years ago.
The nice thing about that, though, is John and I are coming from the northern part of the state, so we're already going to have those jackets with us when it's 28 degrees there, because it's like -2 here. So we're ready for that. But
Yeah, we
you
had to
guys
wear
in
them
Florida,
we had to wear them onto the plane to get there in the first place.
yes. When my parents moved to Florida, they're like, oh, it's going to be fine. We're not going to need these jackets. And they got rid of a lot of their winter stuff. And my mom's like, man, I had this great winter hat. I really wish I would have kept it, because they didn't realize how cold it gets in Florida still. So again, it gets cold in the wintertime. Of course, it's 80 by the afternoon, but it's cold in the morning.
It can be.
So, all right. So, again, we talked about packing appropriate things to keep cool or keep warm. They make neck fans now. I should have brought mine just to show. Get one of those neck fans. I'll tell you what, I think I turned Stuart onto one. Those things are awesome.
I have one.
I bought one, and my wife's like, I don't want to get one of these things. And then we walked here preparing for our trip, and I go, here, try this on. And as she was walking along, she goes, I hate you. We ended up going down with 2 of the neck fans, and they really do make a difference. It helps cool you off a little bit. Secret is if you do have one of those hats that's got a brim that'll go all the way around, it can actually, it'll like blow up and come down off of the brim of the hat. My sister found
nice.
that out the easy way, but it really does make a difference. So it
I'll have to
definitely
remember that one
will
and
cool
pencil
things.
on.
Yeah,
You know,
it does make a difference.
and just to piggyback off of what you said, those what do you call those things? Those neck towels that absorb water, and they can keep you. You know, you'll
Cooling
have to
towels.
stop periodically at a water fountain and wet them again, but they will keep you cooler. They do help.
Mhm. Yep.
That's something else you see very few people in the parks bringing. You know, something I always see, and I'm always like, and this is an easy one that you know, and this is one most of you out there are going to say, I bring it all the time. But there's some people who are not so bright, to be polite, that will go to the parks. Now that they forget suntan lotion, they just don't think they need it. Where, you know, wherever they're from, and I've seen this too many times. I've seen it where infants are not even covered with a hat. It's just take precautions. You know, I'm not saying you need to wear a hat. It helps if you do, but you know, put suntan lotion on. I can't tell you how many people don't have it on and think, I'm not going to be in the sun that long. If you're in the sun 10, 15 minutes, you're going to fry at Disney World.
Hmm.
All right, Darlene, we're back to you.
Back to me. Make sure this is for a friend that just went over to Italy. Make sure you check your documents before you leave the house, and make sure you have your driver's license, and if you're going on a cruise, your passport, and whatever else they tell you need. You might even, proof of vaccination or something if you're going on a cruise. These are things that people don't always think of or remember, so I would make sure I have all those important documents, anything that, and your credit cards that you're going to be using, your gift cards. I know a lot of people like to use Disney gift cards while they're here. So, and a few dollars cash for tips.
Speaking of, yes, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Nope, that's okay.
With your documents, if you happen to be going to Disney World, but let's say you're going on a cruise as well. I'm just going to use that as an example, or an adventure by Disney, and then coming back to Disney World. Even if you have your documents, there are some countries that will not let you in or out if your documents happen to be expiring within the next, I think it's 6 months with a passport.
I think so.
Yeah, you want to have it 6 months early. Yep.
Yeah, so if, let's say your passport is going to expire before you come back into the country, or it's going to fall within less than 6 months, you might be in deep doo-doo. So make sure you have it renewed and ready to go before. I know that doesn't happen a lot, but there are, like John, you've had trips where you've taken both a cruise and park. You've combined both.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
I know there are people out there that do that. So for those who do,
a lot of cruisers that are leaving out of Cape Canaveral are going to stop at Disney World before or after, or sometimes both. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. All right, John.
Well, this is a simple one, but I think it's important to remember, and that is, if you use Magic Band or Magic Band Plus, if you and you have them and you forget to bring them along, you end up needing to buy a new one. And first of all, it's wasteful. But second of all, the money that you spend on those, and they're not cheap, is money that you could have spent on another souvenir. So instead of piling them up at home, remember to take them along with you. If that's what you use, you can certainly use your phones. But if you like to use them and you have them, make sure they're on your list so you bring them with you.
Interesting fact. Along with that, bring the charger too, or else you can't charge it. It's no good.
Right?
But interesting fact with that, Apple Watches will work the same way. So, because we had friends that they're like, I just never wore mine because I just used my Apple Watch instead.
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't realize you could do that, but I like you. I like my Magic Band Plus. So
Although you don't
All
have
right.
to have the Magic Band Plus charge to get in your room or into the park.
Correct. But if you want to do anything with any of the games, or if you
Interactive.
want to do anything with your photos, we
Mhm.
found that out. We didn't get previous Magic Bands. Ours was about a year old. There were a couple of years old. It was the second time using them. And we went in, and sure enough, the photos didn't show up for us on like the Haunted Mansion or anything like that because the batteries were dead.
Oh, really?
in the bin.
Because
Yep.
the old Magic Bands would, I thought.
No, they had the battery in there, but if depending on when you got it, if you used it for a couple of years, that battery didn't
Well,
last.
the even on the original Magic Bands, they only last for a couple of 2-3 years, right?
Yeah. So we just had a batch that after it was 1 year, and that was it.
Hmm.
So the second year they worked on the attractions. You could Magic Band your way into an attraction, but you couldn't Magic Band your way with any of the photos. It wasn't
Right.
built for any of the photos.
Yeah.
So I know Florida likes to claim that there is no COVID in Florida. Friend of mine, 3 years in a row, someone in his family caught COVID. You might want to bring a test just to play it safe. So, especially if you're only staying on site, I don't know if it would be available to buy one on site somewhere. They went to a local CVS, picked one up, and brought it home. But just to play it safe, you might want to bring a COVID test. Just saying.
You see too many people in the parks. They're paid for their vacation. Whether it's them or a family member that's sick, and they just go anyway, and they're running around the parks. So just be
A
courteous.
lot of people there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what do they call it? What's the name of that? The fishbowl. They call it a fishbowl.
Yeah, the fishbowl. Yeah. Don't lick the railing, please. Just don't.
Yeah, I always have hand sanitizer with me when I go to the parks, just in case. I don't know if it helps, but anyway, if you're going there with very young children that need a stroller, and you decide to bring a stroller with you, yes, you can get cheap strollers, you can rent strollers, but you want your children comfortable. So just make sure you have a comfortable stroller with you. It's the cost to rent a stroller now, unless that's not a concern for you, has gone way up over the years, and you might actually be better off bringing your own stroller. Just make sure, like I said, it's a comfortable one that your kids will appreciate you for. All right, Darlene, we're back to you. We'll do a couple more rounds of this, then we'll get into the things people shouldn't bring.
Okay. The next thing that I had on my list was make sure that if you're bringing children with you, that you have something with you that can keep them occupied.
I thought you were going to say a leash.
I just, I want to make sure that people, I know they think that it's going to be a quick wait in the line. Sometimes the lines do go slower. Stuart's already talked about it on other shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of parents don't want their kids to have screen time. There's nothing wrong with bringing a small package of crayons with a coloring book so that they can color, or a book to read in their stroller. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep. All right, John.
If you like to rent a car in Florida, my recommendation is to first of all,
these are things you pack.
yeah.
Well, I think I know where he's going with this.
I'm not
Okay.
done.
All right.
It is to get a Sun Pass, but once you
Bingo.
have a Sun Pass, don't forget to bring it with you so that you get the value out of having it.
You can't.
It's right there in my backpack. Never
You
leave.
can use Easy Pass now in Florida.
Oh, you can use Easy Pass too?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So bring one or the other.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
And there's more.
There is a Sun Pass that has Easy Pass connected with it now.
Okay.
So it's a new one. I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm thinking of getting it
Mhm.
once we do, I'll try to update you on another show. We just haven't thought of, every time we go to Publix, we don't think to ask if they have them or not. But yeah, you can use those. So then you can use them in other states and stuff now. They're good. They're good throughout like a lot of the states.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kurt.
Uh, you're gonna have dirty clothes, people. Okay, bring a bag. Just get an old a Kohl's bag or something. One of those big bags they give you. Throw all your dirty clothes in there because you don't want to have to put your dirty clothes back in your suitcase next to your clean clothes, or just pack your whole dirty clothes in your suitcase at the end and then take it out and have your suitcase just smelling like dirty, sweaty clothes that you just spent a week walking around in 110 degrees heat in Florida in. So
You know what?
bring
You
a
know what?
bag.
You know what works well? A scented trash bag, or when you bring a bag, take one of those fabric softeners, scented fabric softeners, and
those in
stick it
there.
in the laundry bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, good.
Yep.
Yep.
Those are very good tips. What
Yeah.
we used to do, and I know that they sell them now actually. We used to take laundry detergent, put it on a washcloth, because when we were staying in DVC with washer and dryer, we would have our own laundry detergent on the washcloth dried. You would throw the washcloth in with the clothes and you would wash your clothes before you leave. So it was great. I mean, it worked out very well for us many times. But now they sell sheets with laundry detergent on them because
Mhm.
and I should have patented that. I could have been rich.
Now, we're going to get into some things soon, not yet, of things you shouldn't bring. And this is something you should bring if you need it. There are people that need to monitor their blood pressure. Don't forget your blood pressure monitor at home, because otherwise, you may not find it anywhere on property. And if you do, it's going to be very expensive. And you might have to go off property and miss park time to get one. So make sure you bring your blood pressure monitor with you should you need one. I know that's just a small segment of our viewership here or listenership, but
Do they have one at first aid?
they
Can they
might.
take your blood pressure at first aid?
They might, but you still have to go out of your way to go. There's some people have to take it 2 or 3 times a day. So you want to stop and keep going for first aid for that? I mean, I know somebody's
Depends
got
on
to do it.
how big is your blood pressure? I guess I have one that strips around your wrist, but I was going to say, how big is your blood pressure kit that you're bringing around with you?
Yeah, some are small, some are big. I've got one that's about the size of my phone, and well, maybe not, maybe 2/3 of the size of the phone, but it's a bit thick.
Does it wrap around your wrist?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I've seen that. Okay.
Yeah. Thank God I don't have to bring it with me anyway. But there are people that do. So,
Mm-hmm.
All right, Darlene. Well, this will be the last round with things you should be bringing.
Should be bringing.
You can pass if you don't have anything else.
I think that was all I had for that. I can't. My list
Bubble
was
gum.
very
Bubble
short.
gum. Bubble gum.
Don't bring
Oh yes,
Don't come in the parks.
Bring your own bubble gum, or even like if you like to a favorite candy, because sometimes you can't find, like, I know Werther's is here, so if you like Werther's, but like peppermint candy or something, you might want those, your Tic Tacs, stuff like that. You might not want to spend the money in the parks for that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right, John.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
I did think of something else.
Are we going to let her do 2 things now?
I don't think so. I think
No, go ahead, Darlene. It's okay.
So, if you are sensitive to shampoo or soap, normally Disney has their brand of the H2O products. If you are not sure if you can use that because this is your first trip, you might want to bring travel sizes of your shampoo and your soap so you don't break out in a rash or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay. John.
Well, we've talked about this before, and it's a biggie, and that is bringing extra batteries along with you to charge your phone. When you're using the My Disney Experience app, you're going to be using a lot of juice throughout the day, and you don't want your phone to go dead. And you may need to charge your watch, but especially your phones. You want to have those, and certainly the cables to go along with them, so that you can charge them up at night, so they're ready in case you need them the next day.
Yeah, John, just going along with what you said, if you forget your charger, and a lot of people do, you can ask the front desk at your resort if they have one that you can borrow for the duration of your trip, because people are always forgetting them when they leave, and they might have one that fits the cable and charger that fits your phone.
Yeah, when you can semi-rent them there too, you can pay a fee for the fuel rods, and
Yep.
I
and
think
then
it's
you
like $30.
can drop them off and get a charged one at another location.
Yeah. They could do that too. Yeah. Wouldn't recommend it, but they could.
Yeah, and it's in a pinch, right?
Yeah. All right, Kurt.
Okay, I'm not sure if we brought it up or not, but again, it does rain daily in Florida,
Mhm.
sometimes more than other times. Pack a raincoat, not an umbrella. Pack a raincoat.
Poncho. Yeah.
That's what you're going to need for that one. If you want, pack a whole rain suit. If down there right now walking around, you're going to need something covering your legs too. But just pack accordingly. Pack a raincoat. And no one, I'm sorry, I'm going to piggyback kind of like our Darlene just did. No one wants to smell you, so please pack deodorant. I don't care how much perfume you're wearing. That just makes me cough and gets me congested because I'm allergic to perfume. Actually, wear deodorant to cover up, prevent the smell from coming out. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
All right, and for my final one, bring a sufficient number of undergarments with you. You don't want to have to reuse a under. I know some people will wear a t-shirt 3 or 4 times, but Kurt mentioned that with or with a laundry bag and doing laundry. But bring enough undergarments. You'll feel more comfortable. The day will go much nicer for you. So yeah. All right, now we're going to move on to things that people bring that they shouldn't bring. And it's probably not going to be a long list, but we'll start with Darlene again.
I know you can bring your pets with you to some of the resorts.
Mm-hmm. But should you?
But should you bring them, really? I mean, is it fair if you're going to leave them in the room and try to go to the park and they're going to be barking or crying while they're in the room? They could be disturbing other guests.
Mm-hmm. Something I find troubling, and I know they're trained for this, but it still bothers me to see it. It's a hot summer day or just a hot day. And even if these animals, when I say animals, dogs, have little boots on, sneakers, or whatever, to walk around the park, it's got to be exhausting to go into a park. And sometimes, they're what do you call those dogs? What can I think of it now?
Service dogs.
Service dogs, yeah. Do you really want to do that to your dog if you're going to be there for a prolonged period of time? And if you're going there for a short period of time, okay, fine. And this is not a knock against anybody. It just, I just find it a little cruel to the animal. And I know there are people out there will say, well, it's not, and that's okay. But it's just what I think when I see that. All right, where are we, John?
Well, the thing that I have, or one of the things I have, is don't bring too many t-shirts. And the reason I say that is if you have any intent or you have a history of buying shirts in the park as a souvenir, then you don't need as many shirts to pack with you, because then you're just going to have more to bring home and more to put in your laundry bag. So, and the other time that I think this is especially true is if you go to the Run Disney events. For every race you run, they give you a shirt. So if you know you're going to get shirts in Disney World anyway, pack less of the shirts so you don't have too many and you have more room in your luggage.
Yep. Completely agree with that. Kirk.
There is no reason in the summer of Florida to be packing a sweatshirt. I don't care how cold you think you're going to get when you're inside. a simple, again, that raincoat, something light that you can put on to just cover your arms is all you need. Do not need a sweatshirt. And
Yep.
honestly, I can't remember the last time I packed long pants going to Florida, unless I was coming in like January and probably wearing them down.
You know, I can count. We had a mild winter last winter, and I can count on one hand the number of times I wore long pants and
Mhm.
long sleeve shirt here. That doesn't mean it'll be that mild this winter, but even the winter before, when it was a little cooler, you know, maybe on 2 1/4 hands, I'd have to count the number of times I wore long pants and long sleeve shirt, if that. It just doesn't get that cold here. Even our winters are mild compared to winters in the Northeast. Um, Something I've seen, and I don't know why people do this, but leave your appliances home. No coffee makers, no microwaves, no toaster ovens. Don't bring it with you on vacation. You don't need it. There's a coffee machine in most rooms. You can get coffee anywhere. Why do you need a toaster oven or a microwave? You know, it's just like, I don't get people. Vacuums. Don't bring your own vacuum. I know people do that too. It's insane. Don't do it.
On the coffee aspect, there isn't a Keurig machine in your room, though. It would be different if there was a Keurig machine.
You're on vacation. Don't bring
Oh,
it.
I don't bring it, but I get the whole Keurig machine when people are like, I like this mix. I want a Keurig machine. They don't have a Keurig machine.
Then you know what? You go down to the nearest cafeteria and get it there.
And the second thing is, from everything I've heard, you don't want to use the coffee machine in that room that's never been cleaned. You've never seen what's inside those tubes. It's supposed to be nasty. Just saying. But yes, go buy a
Well,
Starbucks.
Kurt is encouraging people to bring their own coffee machine. I just
just go buy a Starbucks.
Kurt.
You paid $140 again. Go pay $7 for your Starbucks. I don't care.
Yeah, there you
Or go to Joffrey's. It's less expensive and
better.
just as good.
I don't like Starbucks.
Joffrey's is good. And
Dunkin' Donuts is the best, though.
pardon?
Dunkin' Donuts coffee is the best.
As long as you double the cup so it doesn't eat through the bottom, you're good. I've had it happen.
I'm sure you have.
But I understand which you're putting the owners lockers for the Disney Vacation Club out of business. A friend of mine had a Keurig that they used because they liked their coffee, a specific brand that you can't find at Disney or around here. So they always had a Keurig in their owner's locker that they would bring and use.
You see, but that's different than traveling with your coffee machine. Because that, owner's lockers, for those of you who don't know, it's you can have stuff sent, bring down, and deliver to a place that will hold it for you. So on your next trip to Walt Disney World, instead of bringing anything down with you, you won't need any suitcase. You just get it from your locker that's stored in Florida somewhere, and they'll bring it to your resort for you. So that's different than bringing it down with you. I mean, I don't want to see people coming off a plane when they need room in their suitcases for other things with a coffee machine, a microwave. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, go ahead, Darlene.
Okay, so one of the things that I suggest that you don't bring is like an overabundance of, you don't really need, if you're not going to work while you are here, leave your computer or your tablet at home if you don't need it to read a book or something, because you really should lock all that stuff up in a safe when you leave the room. Anything that you think that is of value, put it in that little safe in the room.
Mm-hmm. John.
Well, I'm going to kind of dovetail on what Darlene said, and I'm going to say, don't bring your work with you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need it at Disney World. Disney World is a place to enjoy yourself. So why create bad memories of your trip by bringing your work with you?
Mm-hmm. Agreed. All right, Kurt.
All right, now, unless you're planning on going to a beach or something, you don't need to pack a towel. Towel takes up a lot of space inside of your suitcase. Don't pack a towel. You can grab 4 towels. They don't care. They've got a ton.
Mhm.
Okay, just don't pack a towel. Just use the ones that they got down there. They're not too scruffy.
Yeah, I agree with that. Something else I've seen people do, they'll bring valuable jewelry, watches, necklaces,
Mhm.
and then they'll leave them in their safe there, but you just never know. It's don't bring it. Be safe rather than sorry. Just don't bring it. I know you might have insurance on it. Just leave it at home if you don't need it. All right, Darlene. I think this will be the last round for this.
Another thing that you don't need to bring with you is like a lot of people think that they need to pack like a boatload of snacks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a few snacks is okay, for the plane or whatever, or if you think, but you're at Disney, you really want to get your snacks. I love the Rice Krispie treats. I love getting the candies at Werther's to nibble on, or your refillable bucket, you get it refilled for $2.25. So there you go. You don't need all
Mm-hmm.
those extra snacks and stuff.
Yep. All right.
Unless,
John.
of course, you're talking about an Uncrustable, because you can buy a box of Uncrustables for what they charge you for one. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right, John, you're up.
Well, I'm going to reverse something that Darlene said earlier, and she had a good reason for saying it, but I'm going to say don't pack shampoo and shower gel. If you've got some reason to be concerned about being allergic to something, that's one thing, but most people don't. So
Mhm. Yep.
don't pack it. It's there. They've got plenty of it, and they'll
Yeah.
refill what they if it runs out. So don't go to the trouble of bringing those extra liquids and not fitting in your 1 quart bag, or having to put in your stored suitcase. Don't
Mhm.
bother, and you don't need to take it.
Yeah, that's one of those things that for most people are a necessity that's unnecessary at Disney World.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
For
If
the
you've got
exact
a
reason.
reason, yeah, sure, but most people don't need to do it.
Yep. All right, Kurt,
I have 2 left.
give us both.
All right. Number 1, don't bring too much cash. Disney World is mostly cashless now.
Mhm.
You can
Yeah.
put everything on your credit card. That's already there anyways. Put it onto gift cards if you don't want to carry the credit card around, but even then you got to be careful, because if you lose the gift card,
Mhm.
it's gone. It's better to just set aside that money in your account, put it on your credit card, use the Disney card, you get the Disney points for the next trip. As soon as that bill comes in, pay the whole thing off right then and there, and then you don't have all the extra charges on top of there. So don't bring too much cash, number 1, because all it takes is you to pull your phone out and all your cash goes with it. I've seen it happen. Number 2, we're always talking about packing our suitcases. People, don't bring too small of a suitcase. Oh, I've got so much extra room here. I promise you, you are going to buy something. You're going to need the room in your suitcase. John's buying 12 extra shirts. Darlene's buying 40 extra snacks that she's got to bring home. Bring extra room to pack stuff into. Don't, if anything, bring an extra little expandable bag
Mhm.
that can
Yeah,
be
even
just
better.
checked at the gate.
Just be aware of what, if you're flying in, what your airline requirements are in terms of the size of the suitcase and the weight. Because I know airlines have different measurements that they go by and different weight limits. And
Here's
that could
another
cost you a
thing.
pretty penny if you exceed that.
If you have multiple suitcases, weigh the heaviest one first. And we've had people say this to us. They're like, put your heaviest
Mhm.
suitcase on here first. Because now even the people that are checking your bags are like, look, you're over by 5 pounds, you're under by 15 in this other one. Take
Yep.
10 pounds out of here and put it in the other suitcase.
We've had that happen. All right. I've got 2 also. First, don't bring illegal drugs, marijuana, anything else like that,
Please,
because
no.
you'll
I
get
hate
yourself in a
that.
whole heap of trouble. You don't need it there, you don't want it there, and nobody else wants it there either. So don't bring it.
It gives me migraines. Please don't smoke it on property.
Yeah. Oh God, please don't. I hate that smell. Firearms.
Yes.
Even if you're law enforcement, and you have to bring it to your resort, okay, fine. But you don't need firearms there. And even if you are law enforcement, they will not let you into the parks with a firearm. Do not bring it, or any kind of weapon, sharp knives, nothing. Don't
Yes.
bring it. Don't need it. Don't want to see it. You don't want to get in trouble. Leave it at home. I can't tell you how many times I've heard of people people bring it and they live to regret bringing it.
The woman she brought her gun in the diaper bag. Oh, I took it for an overnight trip. I forgot it was in there.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have any others that they want to mention before we wrap this up?
No umbrellas. My wife had an umbrella shocked out of her hand in 1996 on our honeymoon.
Wow.
There's just a lot of static electricity in the air, and I happened to just let go of the umbrella at the same time we're holding it together, and I just let go of it, and I was brushing my arm because I could feel the static electricity. Dunk! It shocked it right out of her hand. Thank goodness it just shocked it out of her hand, and it didn't shock her. No umbrellas.
I think that will do it for us this week then. Just want to say one more time, for everybody here in Florida, whether you're in the path or not, be safe. Listen to what your local authorities are telling you to do. Be prepared. Help your neighbors out. That's what neighbors are for. Come together rather than come apart. And now is a good time to do that. So until next time we meet, which hopefully will be next week, be safe, be yourself. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone. Be careful.
Have a magical night. Stay safe. And please, 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 like Stuart said, abide by the towns and stuff that you live in for this storm and be very safe.
Well, you don't want to forget things to take with you, and you want to think about things you shouldn't take with you because you're traveling. And when Kermit and Fozzie travel together, they like to sing, "Moving right along in search of good times and good news. With good friends you can't lose. This could become a habit." And so next week we'll be back and we'll have good news because Jess will be here with us with the news. And we're going to be here. We're your friends, and we hope that we become a habit for you. So, everybody, good night.